close to 18 trillion. This is a moral issue, not just an economic issue. For our kids and our grandkids. It's unsustainable, and that's one of the reasons why this election is so critical. So let me tell you about our vision. It's what Senator Cruz talked about. It's simple. Number one, we have to roll back the federal overreach and regulatory state and strangulation that affects every single Alaskan. And trust me, this is not a Democrat or Republican issue. Everywhere I go, everywhere I've campaigned, every Alaskan has a story about federal overreach. You know, you talk about Obamacare, 1,200 pages. Actually, 2,100 pages. Mark Begich was the deciding vote. I was the Attorney General who sued to stop it. But what a lot of people miss on Obamacare, the implementing regs on Obamacare number 22,000 pages. If you stack them, 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper, it would be regulations that were 9.5 feet tall. This is the new form of government. Guess who is responsible for understanding the regs and implementing the regs? We, the people. And it's not working. So we have to roll that back. The second thing we need to do is continue to focus on what Senator Cruz said is this incredible energy renaissance that's happening in the United States. And one of the greatest examples of how we turn it around, how we take a dead basin, a supposed dead basin where jobs are fleeing and energy production is declining, and turn that around to create jobs, create investment, create new energy production, is right here on the Kenai Peninsula. A great story. So we need to unleash the energy and economic potential of this great state, this great country, and Alaska should be leading America's energy renaissance. And finally, an issue that's very, very, very important to me that we've been talking about for months is that we need to protect the most vulnerable in society. And one of the things that disturbed me so much when I started this campaign is I started to realize one of the groups that is the most vulnerable because of the way they've been treated is our veterans. How many veterans do we have in the room? How about a round of applause for our veterans?
Yeah!
We started to look at these issues, and the young men and women who are coming home from our wars in Afghanistan and Iraq were met with indifference. Were met with a VA that didn't care. And under the Begich, Obama, Harry Reid tenure, we had wait times for our veterans who needed help that went from 130,000 nationally in 2009, 5 years later, over 620,000 on this backlog in wait times. The USA Today called this a national disgrace. Mark Begich was on the Veterans Affairs Committee during that time. Not one hearing on these backlogs and wait times. So when I launched this campaign, my wife, my 3 wonderful teenage daughters, my mother and father-in-law, suit, tie, and I had these combat boots on. And I had a reporter ask me, those boots look out of place with your suit and tie. What are you wearing those for? I said, these are my Marine Corps combat boots. They got mud from Afghanistan from a year ago. And I said, I'm going to make this campaign about something that every Alaskan agrees with, that we have to keep the sacred trust of responsibility between our federal government and our veterans, and if I'm your U.S. Senator, I will do that. So let me just make one final point. You know, I think sometimes as Alaskans, when we see national races, presidential races, that sometimes, hey, huge state, but just 3 electoral votes, sometimes we don't matter on the direction of the country. Sometimes we're not going to have a big impact. On Tuesday, the fate of the country is going to be decided here in Alaska. It is very likely the control of the United States Senate, whether we continue rubber stamping the Obama administration's agenda, explosion of debt, no jobs, liberal judges, whether that continues or we start to roll that back and rip it out by the roots and retire Harry Reid as Senate Majority Leader.
Let me make a final request of everyone here. I want to ask each and every one of you on Tuesday to go out and vote for Dan Sullivan 10 times.
Hey, will you guys take questions?
Now look, I'm not encouraging voter fraud. We're not Democrats. But let me tell you how you can do that. If each and every one of you shows up on election day and votes, and then you pick up the phone and you call 9 of your friends, you call your next door neighbor, you call your sister, you call your coworker, you call your son, and you say, you know what? This election matters. This election matters to my kids, to my grandkids. Please show up and vote. I'm scared we're bankrupting our kids and our grandkids, and we got to change course. If each one of you gets 9 other people to show up and vote who wouldn't have voted otherwise, you voted 10 times. And let me tell you, if the men and women in this room, take a look around. We were in Anchorage last night. Begich had two rallies. Had about 50 people at each of them. That's their vaunted ground game.
How come so many?
Half of them were campaign staff. If the men and women in this room, if everyone here takes in the next 48 hours, takes it upon yourself to get 10 people to the polls to vote, I guarantee you Dan Sullivan will be the next United States Senator from Alaska. And Harry Reid will be packing up his office.